7. Normal. You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended the Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical rant.
All right, folks, we're going to turn to the mainstream media here. The Sacramento Bee is attacking our own Paul Armentano of NORML. Paul cited a study that came from Craig Reinerman here that showed some of the demographic data on medical marijuana patients in the state of California. 3/4 were male, 3/5 were Caucasian. Patients were most likely to be between the ages of 25 and 34. People use medical marijuana for relief of pain, spasms, headaches, and anxiety, and for sleep and relaxation. Patients said they use cannabis prior to sleep. The majority use it prior to going to sleep. The majority only use moderate amounts of a plurality, 40% use a moderate amount of cannabis, 3 grams per week. The use of tobacco was somewhat higher, but the prevalence of alcohol use was significantly lower. Also, their use of other illicit substances such as cocaine, meth, and heroin was also lower than the general population. So Paul wrote this up in a wonderful way that he always does, and it was published as an op-ed in the Sacramento Bee. Well, lo and behold, we managed to get one of the prohibitionists to crawl out of the woodwork here on this one. And this guy's name's Harvey Swenson. He's a retired pharmacist who lives in the Arden Arcade area, responding to this study. And here's where he starts. He says, "It's cherry picking season for Paul Armentano at NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, where the highlighting of information favorable to legalization of marijuana and suppression of contrary information is normal." Well, no, we suppress the BS, we suppress the bad data, the junk science, yeah, but no, we're willing to give you the full story on marijuana. Anyway, he starts by saying, "This was a sociological study led by Craig Reinerman, a longtime foe of the war on drugs. All data were self-reported or came from physicians who for $50 to $125 provide patients with recommendations used to obtain medical marijuana cards." Now, he also criticizes Paul for listing that the largest group of patients were aged 25 to 54, but not for citing that 17.9% of patients are in the healthy 18 to 24 age group. As if someone who's a patient below the age of 24 must be faking it because, well, everybody aged 18 to 24 is healthy. Oh, I hate when people do that, when they make that stereotype about medical marijuana patients. Another part he says here, he says, "By far the most telling data Armentano omitted is the unbelievable 41.2% of patients who claimed not to have used cannabis recreationally, well below estimates of use for everyone else." Well, no, not exactly. Right now in the United States, we see 56% of the people have not in. So they're using marijuana. 2 out of 5 of them didn't use it recreationally before starting to use medical marijuana. I think that's a pretty reasonable number there. It is a lower number than people who have never used marijuana, but that's to be expected. The people who were using marijuana recreationally before medical marijuana existed were no less patients then than they are now. Right? If you had anxiety, insomnia, depression, chronic pain, whatever, in 1994, and you're using marijuana recreationally, and then Prop 215 passes in 1996, and now you're a patient, you're still the same sick person using cannabis for medicinal purposes. All that changed was the definition of some law in some book somewhere. That's the only difference here. And this guy continues to go on and he says, "As a pharmacist, I am well aware of the medicinal benefits of cannabis, including those of dronabinol, THC, which has been available by prescription for decades." Well, of course, that's the Marinol pill. And as a pharmacist who makes money dispensing pills, of course you're happy with the dronabinol. And his concluding paragraph here, "I have no doubt that the great majority of users are simply using it to get high. The legalization battle fought last year will be fought again, and people will have to decide if we are to end our drug-dependent terminal slide or not. When that battle is joined, remember that NORML is telling you only what it wants you to know." Right, as opposed to, say, the Office of National Drug Control Policy. which won't tell you a single positive benefit, as opposed to the federal government that continues to say there is no medicinal benefit to Schedule I cannabis, that it cannot be used safely under a doctor's supervision, that it has a high potential for abuse, and that it is not a medicine, while cocaine and methamphetamine are. They're the ones that are cherry-picking, folks, Mr. Swenson. They're the ones cherry-picking. Here at NORML, we are committed to telling you the truth about cannabis, and we have on many occasions, check our news archives, reported on studies that show some negative effects from cannabis. We had all sorts of people giving us grief over the 5 nanogram data that we were putting up in Colorado. Don't give me that cherry-picking.
This is NORML Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
You can read all of those op-eds up on the Sacramento Bee at sacbee.com. And for Ganja John, Radical Russ, that's me. Wiz Khalifa and Cannabis Carry, thanks for joining us. I'm crazy. We're out of here. Until next time, take care of each other, tokers.